national security, with the regional tensions in the West Philippine Sea and the Taiwan Straits escalating to almost unbearable levels. With this in mind, we ask our agencies and experts to be clear and forthright in their inputs today. So, meron tayong mga iba't iba pang committee hearing, mga alas 11, kaya nananawagan po ako na talagang diretso na lang tayo mag-usap. Unang-una, bukas po ang hearing sa ngayon. Public hearing po ito. Matapos ito, nag-request po si Secretary of Foreign Affairs Tess Lazaro na mag-executive session po tayo. But in the meantime, I think the public deserves to know what exactly is our position on the One China policy. Kaya dire-diretso na natin tumbukin. Marami pong nalito kasi sinabi ni Presidente Bongbong dun sa India, kaya hindi ko alam kung ano yung konteksto. Pero marami pong nasindak at talagang nabigla, ba't naman daw ganun? Kaya eto nga, kinakailangan liwanagin ng ating mga opisyal kung ano na nga ba ang sitwasyon dito sa ating One China policy. At alam naman natin, ang pagkasabi is, if there is a confrontation over Taiwan between China and the United States, there is no way that the Philippines can stay out of it simply because of our physical, geographical situation. If there is an all-out war, we will be drawn to it. And I guarantee you with the greatest hesitation, but we will defend our territory. Kaya nakakalito at higit sa lahat nakakatakot. Kaya marami pong natakot. At yun nga, nagwala yung China at maanghang na sumagot. At ang alam natin, idiniin muli nung dumating dito sa Pilipinas si Presidente Bongbong at sabi, we will be dragged into that war over Taiwan, kicking and screaming. Pero kasama pa rin. Idiniin din niya na may plano naman ng Pilipinas na uwi ang mga Pilipino na nandun. So, nandyan tayo at marami pong katanungan. Unang-una, itatanong ko na ng diretsahan, ano ba talaga ang sitwasyon? Just to put it on record as far as this committee is concerned, the Philippines and the U.S. both still recognize the One China policy. Is that correct? Yes, Secretary Lazaro, please.
Madam Chair, good morning, and Senator Padilla. Just to respond quickly to your opening statement, the basic message that I will convey here is that the 1975 joint communique of the Philippines and China is foundational to the good relations of both countries. The change in recognition of the one sole and legal government of China from the Republic of China to the People's Republic of China is the basis of our One China policy. The Department of Foreign Affairs, and I'm proud to say that, is the guardian and steward of the One China policy. And to this time, to this very moment, we have been the guardian and steward. Successive administrations have reinforced the One China policy through separate but related issuances. And that the Filipino people have long-standing relations with the Taiwanese people and we therefore benefit from continued engagement with them. But just to add a little bit more, we do not recognize Taiwan as a sovereign state. We leave it to the Chinese people to resolve cross-strait matters. Conflict will have an impact on geographically proximate territories. And the President did not deviate from our principle of non-interference in each other's internal affairs, a principle of the joint communique. And finally, that with our concern for Filipinos, and as you mentioned, almost 200,000 in the impact of conflict, we continue to call for restraint and dialogue. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you very much. The 1975 joint communique you referred to as the foundational document, have there been any changes since then in the official formulation of the One China policy of the Philippines?
None whatsoever, Madam Chair.
None whatsoever. Kaya lang, nakita ko, meron kayong mga iba't ibang mga resolusyon at mga executive order na sunod-sunod, hindi po ba? Dahil 1987, itong Executive Order 313, 87, 89, sobrang higpit na ni isa sa mga opisyal ng Pilipinas pwedeng pumunta sa Taiwan, bawal. Tama ba yung pagkaintindi ko? At saka no official activity at walang bibisita kailanman. Tama ba yon? Noong 1987-89?
Yes, Your Honor, it's correct. Pero they're not allowed, particularly main levels, President, Vice President, Secretary for Affairs.
Tinatahak ko lang kasi kahit meron tayong joint communique noong 1975, sa haba ng panahon, nagbago din to.
Madam Chair, it's the implementation of the One China policy. So they were very restricted ito in 1992, and they are not allowed to officially engage. So everything seemed to be in control.
Hindi, pero umpisa muna tayo sa umpisa, yung 313. Yung EO 313, kasi 87, 89 yun eh.
Yes.
Pagkatapos ng EDSA po yun.
Madam Chair, if I may, the 1992, which is, I'm sorry, the 1987.
Umpisa muna tayo sa 1987 kasi yun ang kauna-unahan.
Yes. Actually, President Aquino set strict parameters.
Very strict.
That no official engagement will be undertaken without the clearance of the Department of Foreign Affairs.
Yes, we recognize the arrival of Senator Erwin Tulfo. Ang umpisa, talaga 1987, di ko maintindihan, 87 ba o 89? Kasi
87.
Kasi pa iba-iba yung datos dito. Anyway, napaka-stricto. Diba? Yes, talagang bawal.
Yes.
Maliwanag yon. Dumating yung Memo Circular 1992. At ang nangyari nito, the restriction should apply strictly to the President, the Vice President, SFA, and SND. Apat lang ang talagang pinagbabawalan.
Yes.
Ibig sabihin, yung ibang mga opisyal, pwedeng pumunta basta maliwanag ang pakay, pagpunta sa Taiwan, tapos pagbalik nila, magre-report sila. Tama?
If I may add, Madam Chair, the engagements of the others, not aside from the four, may be undertaken for economic and functional sectors only. Only ordinary passports must be used for travel purposes to Taiwan.
Yes,
all
that's
engagements must be cleared again with the Department of Foreign Affairs.
Tama. And no formal contacts.
Recording in progress.
So, no agreements. Ganun pa rin. Yun ang hindi nagbabago, no agreements, etc. No? Tapos, nung 2025, eto na, lumuwag to, di ba? Nung April 2025, etong taon na to, biglang lumuwag. Kaya kapuna-puna. At binawasan ng travel limitations nung 1987 EO 313. At dito, kahit pinagbabawalan pa rin ng Pangulo, ang Vice-Pangulo, ang top defense and foreign affairs officials, the other government officials could travel to Taiwan, economic, trade, investment, the usual, gamit na ulit yung ordinary passport, hindi babanggitin ang kanilang titulo na opisyal, at idadaan sa MECO. At bago sila umalis, kailangan sabihan ng MECO 5 days lamang in advance. Medyo mas magaan siya, diba? Kasi pwede kang pumunta, basta titimbre ka lang 5 days in advance. At ganun pa rin, it cannot result in any official engagement memoranda, etc. Is that correct? Is my perception that there was a significant liberalization as of April this year?
Yes, Madam Chair, but in the context only of what you have mentioned, trade, investment, economic cooperation, and tourism. Now, there's an additional requirement. After they have coordinated with MECO, they have to write a report to us, to the Department of Foreign Affairs.
But that's not additional. That's already contained in 1992. May report din may reportorial din required, di ba? Nung Memo Circular 148. So may DFA report talaga. Okay, sige. So, yun, nakikita natin na kahit sinasabing may One China policy na nagmula pa noong 1975, sa haba ng panahon, sa pagdaan ng mga dekada-dekada, may pagbabago. So ngayon, parang mas lumuwag kung ikukumpara natin sa dekada 80.
Madam Chair, lumuwag po, pero it again on those focused sectors, the political part and the other.
Pero mas madali, wala nang bawal. Basta tumimbre ka sa MECO, 5 araw lang, ayos na, di ba? More or less, magbigay ka ng dahilan. Hindi naman napakahirap kapag tourism, trade, investment,
Pero Madam
economic.
Chair, 4 na sectors lang po yan.
Ha?
4 na sectors
Kaya
lang.
nga, nabanggit ko na, economic, trade,
Trade and
investment, and
tourism,
tourism.
yes.
Sakop na halos lahat noon, di ba?
Hindi, may iba talaga na medyo may mga political discussions, sensitive discussions. Yan, they are not supposed to take cognizance of that.
Tama.
Madam Chair, siguro Meiko can to explain that further.
Yes, perhaps we can call Cheloy to explain kung ano pa yung implementasyon nito.
Ma'am, with respect dun sa mga visiting dignitaries natin to Taiwan, of course malinaw na hindi pwede ang presidente ang VP at saka yung SND and SFA.
Oo, parati namang bawal yon ever since.
Ngayon, with respect sa ibang secretaries and other officials, pwede po silang pumunta sa Taiwan according to the MC82 as long as their purpose for visiting is for trade, economic, investment, and tourism purposes.
So, alam natin yon, pero ang tinatanong ko, how is this in actual operation? Marami bang nag-a-apply at talagang kinikilala ba yung 5-day rule? Tinitimbrehan kayo? Paano kayo sinasabihan?
Ma'am,
At paano kayo pumapayag o pinagbabawalan?
Ma'am, yung mga officials ng government, they write to us telling us of their intent to go to Taiwan for whatever purpose, kung personal siya o kung may gagawin talaga silang forum. And then we send them a letter reiterating kung okay sa amin yung visit nila or not, and then reminding them of the protocols and the guidelines for the visit. Pero hindi po lahat ng
Sinusulat ba yon?
Yes,
yung notice sa
yes,
inyo?
Madam Chair. Yes.
Tapos sasabihin lang doon. Pag sinabing economic, kailangan bang i-detalye yung sadya nila o pwede nang sabihin basta economic?
Ma'am, meron po silang ina-attach na mga yung reason at saka invitation for them to go.
So sinasabi nyo na kahit pwedeng bumisita, hindi pa rin ganun kasimple.
Yes, ma'am.
Kahit
Yes,
pa paano
Madam Chair.
titimbrehan kayo. Tapos yung report na ibibigay pag-uwi sa DFA, ano itsura ng report? Mahababang report yon or simple lang?
Madam Chair, depende rin talaga what the the focus of their meeting, or rather their visit to Taiwan, can be long, can be short. It depends on how they're meeting their objectives.
Madam Chair, meron din silang ina-attach na clearance from the DFA.
So
sa
may
kanilang-
MECO na, may DFA
Yes,
pa. Kasi
yes, Madam Chair.
doon kasi sa memo, ang sabi, MECO lamang, may DFA din. Ang alam ko may DFA din eh. Dahil dito sa napaka-controversial na bisita ngayon ng Taiwanese delegation na nagkakagulo kami. Mula sa Maynila, Subic hanggang Ilocos Norte, nagkakagulo ang mga opisyal. Ang pagkasabi kasi nila, yung DFA nag-clear din. So, ibig sabihin, may clearance din ng DFA.
Madam Chair, just to add, you see they also write to us and we give them the guidelines. So they also give us that information. May mga guidelines kami bigay, use of personal passport, marami po yan eh. No display of flags, no playing of national anthems, does not refer to the Republic of China as a country or a nation. Its offices must not be referred to as ministries.
Yes, yes.
Its officials not to be addressed.
That's right.
Such. Yes, ma'am.
Oo. But I suppose that's just the implementation of what's already contained in the order in any case of memo circular.
We just emphasize
Nakadetalye, oo.
Yeah.
So, out of curiosity lang, di ba? Pareho yung US, pareho rin ang Pilipinas, pareho natin kinikilala yung One China policy. Is there a difference between the way they implement and the way we implement? Just by way of information, would anyone know how the US implements this for their part?
Actually, ma'am, I don't know the specifics, but I think there's a difference.
What is the distinction?
I think the
Kasi
distinction.
parati natin nababalitaan, may mga senator, may mga speaker, congressman, na vice president, panay ang punta sa Taiwan. So nagtataka lang ako, wala silang prohibition, tayo meron.
I cannot have that. There's a specific provision that was.
Hindi, nakikita lang natin sa TV, di ba? Bigla silang darating.
Well, the
Pagkatapos, syempre, nagagalit naman yung China. Nakikita naman natin, very well publicized naman yung bisita ni Nancy Pelosi.
Right.
Tapos, yung mga congressional and senatorial visits, alam naman natin yun.
So there's really a very big difference.
So, masasabi mo ba na mas mahigpit pa tayo kesa sa US?
I would say
Maliwanag eh.
yes.
Diba?
Mas mahigpit po tayo.
Oo, I was just curious about that. So, in effect, what is substantial is both the US and the Philippines recognize that Taiwan is a part of China. Is that clear? Because that is part of the One China policy.
Yes.
And that therefore, any question about China independence or accretion is in fact an internal matter for China, a domestic affair for China.
Correct. And
Okay.
that's our statement, Madam Chair, that we leave it to the Chinese people to resolve cross-straits issue.
Right.
Madam
Okay.
Chair, Madam
Pero, tatapusin ko lang So, maihahambing po to sa ating issue noon na yung Mindanao may autonomous region. Tapos, walang dapat makialam dahil internal matter ng Pilipinas. Would you liken that to the Taiwan situation now?
To a certain
As to the BARM when it was being negotiated for the long duration of 17 years?
To a
Parang ganun din yun, ano?
To a certain extent, Your Honor, yes.
Sige. I think that Senator Tulfo would like to interject.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's something that I have observed, Madam Chair, and this goes to the Secretary of the Foreign Affairs. Ang problema po kasi, Madam Secretary, Madam Chair, parang we have to respect the One China policy. Tama po. At sumusunod tayo sa gusto nila. All right. The problem now is, paano naman tayo? Paano naman po si Eddie? Tinatrato na parang langgam at kayang-kayang apak-apakan lang po tayo. There is no more respect, ika nga. While we respect what they want, while we don't want to interfere in their affairs between China and Taiwan, but what about our position? As neighbors, na they can just trample, they can just come into our territory and interfere with our affairs. Siguro, Madam Chair, sa akin lang po ha, I mean, this does not reflect the opinion of the committee. Rather, it's a personal opinion. I think it's high time that we think our position if we must continue to observe this One China policy. Because of the fact na hindi naman po ginagalang tayo while we respect what they want. You understand where I'm coming from, Madam Secretary. While we respect what they want. One China policy kami ito, huwag kayong makialam. But what about us? What about our rights? Our rights at the West Philippine Sea. They can come in and out and wala tayong say. To the point that our personnel, our Coast Guard and Navy personnel being harassed, our fishermen driven away back to our shores. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, but on my opinion, Madam Secretary, we really have to think of this position. I mean, yes, the United States is observing this One China policy. Hindi naman sila po binubuli. Tayo po nabubuli. And come to think of it, that's our neighbor. So we respect what they want, pero what we want is that they get out of the West Philippine Sea. They don't respect that, Madam Chair. So I want to hear your opinion on this, Madam Secretary.
Chair?
Yes, you're recognized, please.
Thank you very much for that statement, that opinion, that personal statement of yours, Senator Tulfo. I guess the situation is such, but as far as the Department of Foreign Affairs is concerned, we have certain mechanisms that we have been employing from the start in dealing with
Pero sorry to interrupt, Secretary Lazaro, pero yung ating mga note verbal at yung sangkatutak na protesta, umabot na yata ng 300 mahigit. Ilan na ba? Ano ba ang running count natin? Napakarami. Wala na epekto.
Yeah.
Parang nakakahiya, dinedetma.
Ang problema, Madam Chair, is that it's also important na yung mga protests na yon form part of the documentation in case whatever happens. And this was what was used during the arbitral proceedings at The Hague. But going back to the question of Senator...
But do we have any other effective means of...
That's what I'm trying to say.
I mean, obviously, well, We can keep sending those note verbal. We can call for the ambassador. We can protest in the United Nations, in the ASEAN, and so on. But to no real effect. Things are just being exacerbated by all these efforts, apparently angering the Chinese even further. So wala rin epekto.
But as I was starting to state, we have a mechanism. We have so many mechanisms, and it works in different sectors. We have the bilateral consultative mechanism of the South China Sea. This is at the level of the foreign ministry, and it may seem that it is doesn't have that much impact, but yes, it does. Just to cite an example, the discussions on the Ayungin Shoal, the Second Thomas Shoal. If you notice, Senator Tulfo, from the time of June 17, 2024, when a finger of one of the soldiers
yes, that's
was
right.
cut
He
off.
came over here in this
Yes.
committee.
And the Department of Foreign Affairs, together with our Chinese colleagues, came up with a provisional arrangement. This provisional arrangement is in consonance also with the UNCLOS, and that it stated there. So since then, the RORE, we call it the rotation and reprovisioning of necessities, wala hong incident, if you notice, from
tahimik na mula nung naputol yung
June
daliri
17,
ni Facundo.
exactly, yes, until the present time. In fact,
So
nakasyam
anong
na RORE na.
kasunduan doon? Kahit papano may kasunduan.
May kasunduan talaga without
so, titimbre
prejudice.
lang kayo. Di ba yung dating kasunduan,
Yes.
all these years, ang mangyayari doon, titimbre kayo.
Yeah, information lang.
Titimbre sila
Information
na-
exchange.
Information lang,
Exchange,
di ba? Sasabihin, okay, maghahatid kami ng pagkain, tubig, at iba pa.
Right.
Parang ganon. At
And-
magpapalit ng tauhan.
Madam Chair, the most important aspect of this provisional arrangement is it is not no prejudice to our official positions.
Madam Chair, makasingit lamang po. Maganda po yung sinasabi ho ninyo. But recently, have you seen the photos? Have you seen reports from our Philippine Coast Guard and Philippine Navy? Hindi na po Coast Guard, hindi na po Chinese Coast Guard. It's the People's Liberation Army Navy na po ang nagbabantay. And then, meron po sila mga rubber boats na meron pong mounted machine guns. It is, hindi na po Coast Guard. It is already Chinese Navy. Watching, no more. Nung magbanggaan po sila, if you would remember, ma'am, a couple of weeks ago, I think last week lang, nung nagbanggaan yung Chinese Navy at saka Coast Guard, nagalit sila. So, nagpadala na sila ng PLN na mga Navy. So, when you say PLN, they're armed. Tapos, nagpadala pa sila on the rubber boats, iniikot-ikutan yung BRP Sierra Madre. I mean, this is something. I mean, mas lalong, yung kanilang what they're doing, yung kanilang claim sa West Philippine Sea, parang they've already occupied it. And then what we're doing is diplomacy. It's like bringing a pen to a gunfight. And then diplomacy without deterrence is weakness, Madam Secretary, Madam Chair. So this is what we were saying na we keep on observing one China policy at para wag natin tratuhin bilang ibang bansa ang Taiwan because sa kanila yon. But the point is, pero bakit tayo patuloy po na binabastos ng ating kapitbahay? Is there any tangible leverage we have over China, or are we just allowing ourselves to be bullied in the name of diplomacy? That's the question, Madam Secretary.
Madam Chair, again, Senator Tulfo, what you are describing are the operational part. As far as the Department of Foreign Affairs is concerned, we still adhere to what the President said, that this dispute should be governed by diplomacy and dialogue. So that's where we differ from our security agencies, who I think is doing a fantastic job in taking care of our waters. But we still are of the view and strongly state that diplomacy has still an important role in this issue. It may not be immediate, but diplomacy definitely has a very important role.
Pero
Thank you. Thank you, Secretary and Senator Tulfo. I think the issues in the West Philippine Sea, including the RORE and other claims, should be discussed in another meeting. Mabalik lang sa Taiwan, because I do believe that the issue of the West Philippine Sea deserves another hearing. Malaking bagay to, pati yung Taiwan Straits, napakalapit po. Kung may Palawan, yung Taiwan Straits po napakalapit sa Ilocos. Kaya talagang, kumbaga, personal to sa amin. Kaya, palagay ko, magka-hearing tayo tungkol sa West Philippine Sea at isama natin yung DND. Kasi sa ngayon wala rito yung DND, wala rin yung Coast Guard. Kinakailangan narito sila. Kaya balikan na muna natin kung maaari lamang yung issue ng Taiwan. Kasi yun ang mainit at narito pa rin yata sila. Narito pa ba, Chelo, yung mga delegasyon?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yung pinag-iinitan nila, yung Lin Chalung, nandito pa ba yun? Hanggang kailan ba sila?
Until 30, sa 30.
Isang buwan?
And then 30, ma'am. Today is the 28th, the 30th, Friday.
Yes, Senator Padilla, please.
Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair. Meron lang po akong gustong liwanagin na aming mahal na kalihim. Yun lamang pong sinabi po ng ating mahal na Pangulo, yung pong kanyang nasabi sa India, yun po ay patungkol lamang doon sa ating mga OFW po ba? Yun lamang po, kaya siya nakapagsalita po ng ganun.
Opo.
Yun gusto ko lamang pong linawin.
Yes,
Opo.
Mr.
Dahil,
Senator.
dahil sa mga Pilipino doon.
Dalawa yung kanyang points na ni-raise The proximity, yung kalapitan natin dito sa Taiwan at almost 200,000 Filipinos na kailangan nating isipin.
Meron na po kanina nabanggit po ng ating Madam Chair na meron na raw po ba kayong naisip na paraan kung para sila ay halimbawa po nagkaroon ng kaguluhan, sila po ay maibalik kaagad dito sa Pilipinas. Meron na po tayong ganung plano.
Ang dami-dami po nun, 180,000 paano nga iuwi lahat
Actually,
yan?
Madam Chair, Senator Padilla, you'll be surprised but we have been talking since early this year for a contingency plan. Meron po, of course kasama po namin ang mga security agencies. Hindi namin magagawa yan.
Pero
meron po.
napakarami, wala naman tayong ganyang kadaming barko.
Pero meron talagang marami din silang alam na paraan at nagtulungan lang kami.
Nakakatuwa nga, minsan may nag-alok, nagmamagandang loob yung mga Amerikano na sila daw mag-uwi. Sabi ko, naku, wag naman, baka banatan yan. Mas lalo madidisgrasya yung mga yan. Yun ang question ko. I'm also concerned because there are so many, at talagang saan pupunta yan? Halimbawa, hindi na kaya ng Batanes, Cagayan, Ilocos Norte, hindi namin kaya 180,000, kaliliit na probinsya.
Your Honor, kung pwede po masasagot po namin yan, pero pwede po bang sa executive session?
Alright, so ang point is, despite our doubts, you are confident that you have a plan in place?
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Can we ask the Department of Migrant Workers here their position on this? Is there like a plan, a grand plan to evacuate? Yung sinasabi ni Madam Chair na 180,000.
Parang ganun
Saan natin...
Ilan ba talaga? Ilan na ba ngayon?
Yeah, yung figures nyo, ilan ho talaga ang Pilipino ho doon sa Taiwan?
Okay. Good morning po, Madam Chair and
Yes,
members of the Honorable
is that
Committee.
Director Padaen? Or Yusek Olalia? Sino sasagot po?
Either po, kahit
Sige po, si Yusek na lang. I would defer to my boss.
sige po. Tama po kayo, Madam Senator and Senator Tulfo, no? Marami po tayong mga kababayang nagtatrabaho sa Taiwan. 169,000 plus po ang ating documented OFWs, no? Karamihan po doon, 84% are factory workers. And this is by virtue of an agreement that was executed between the Department of Labor before, sometime in 1999, and the Ministry of Labor in Taiwan po, no? At may mga caretakers din po tayo doon at patuloy po tayo nagpapadala base po doon sa agreement po natin.
meron po tayo. Hindi lang siguro nyo mai-discuss dito. Pero are you sure na yung plano ho ninyo will be sufficient na just in case, wag naman, hari nawa, wag naman ho mangyari, nagkagulo ho yan at nagka-gera dyan, may uwi ho ba natin sa isang iglap or it will take days? Kung days lang ho, kung titignan mo sa liit ho ng Taiwan, Diyos ko po, baka sa loob lang ng 5 oras, 8 oras, nadurog na ho yung bansa na yan. So yun ang position natin. Ang tanong po namin, how can we bring them back home? 169,000 po yan. Lahat na siguro ng barko natin, pati mga kumpit, mga lancha, balsa, dalhin na natin, pero hindi pa rin natin siguro kakayanin yung 180,000 na yan, Madam Chair.
Yeah, tulad po ng sinabi ng ating magiting po na secretary, no, meron po tayong contingency plan and we can discuss the details in executive session po, no. We can activate this at any point in time whenever there is an urgency to repatriate yung ating pong mga Pilipinong nagtatrabaho po doon, no. So meron po kaming crisis management team at ito po ay in place na. There's a structure that we'll just have to follow. Yung alert level crisis po natin, nandyan po tayo at handang-handa po tayo.
Ayokong pumasok sa detalya. Ang gusto ko lang malaman, sapat ba, sinasabi nyo, may plano, sapat ba yung barko? May bilang kayo ng barko, na-name na ninyo yung mga private, commercial vessels, pati yung Navy, ilan lang ng barko, Coast Guard, ang liliit. May bilang na kayo ng mga barko? O eroplano? May pondong nakalaan para rito? Malaki-laking lipatan to. Sangkatutak na bakwit to. Hindi biro-biro. Ilan lang ang naglipat nung Marawi siege nung umpisa, hirap na sa tabi pa lamang. Ang hirap ng bakwit, promise.
Madam Chair.
Secretary Lazaro po. Ayan?
I think, sabi po ni DMW, meron pong pondo. Pangalawa ho is that
Teka. Umiiling si Yusek Olalia. Wala raw silang pondo.
Ma'am, there is an allocation.
Ang alam ko, walang pondo. Saan yung pondo? Ang liit ng pondo ng department po ninyo.
Ang UWA po ay meron pong tinatawag na emergency repatriation.
Magkano?
Hindi ko lang po alam yung exact figures.
20,
and then sa DMW po, meron din po kaming action fund.
Hindi, kasi may 20 million lamang ang DFA. Magkano yung sa inyo?
Sa action fund po, 1.2 po yung for 2025 and then may continuing budget po kami na may
1.2
billion po.
Billion for repatriation specific.
Kasama po ang repatriation expense sa action fund ng DMW.
Pero lahat-lahat na yun. Sakop na yung mga rescue, pagsasagip, yung mga legal and medical problems, di ba kasama lahat doon? Kaya nga, bali todo yun, halos lahat ng MOE ninyo yun eh. So, I think, hindi sapat. Hindi, kasi, papasok kami sa budget time. Dapat, maglaan ng pondo para rito, hindi ba klaro? Secretary Lazaro. Mahina kayo, dapat humingi kayo kagad. Andito mga senador.
Totoo po yun, Madam Chair. Kaya lang po siguro, kaya nga contingency. Meron kaming contingency fund. Meron silang pera. Meron din po kaming for assistance to nationals, which is quite, of course, tama yung sinabi nyo, sa pangkalahatan yun. However, yung contingency plan naman po is that's in partnership with our security agencies.
Naku, ilan lang ang barko ng Navy natin, pati Coast Guard, maawa ka.
And,
tama si Senator Tulfo, isang idlip lang baka ubus na ang Taiwan.
Meron din po namang kasing kaya nga po gusto namin i-discuss ito sa sa executive session kasi
itatanong ko lang, diretso lang to. Is it an option? Palibasa, kinikilala pa rin natin ang One China policy. Hindi ba pwedeng bumunta sa Taiwan diretso at sabihin i-repatriate ang mga Pilipino? Magpatulong. Kasama ba yun? Nagtatrabaho sila dun nakikinabang sila sa hirap ng mga Pilipino doon. Dahil during the Iran-Iraq war, I was fully aware that my mother actually called Prime Minister Tariq Aziz and urged that the Filipinos be helped to come home. And they actually chartered an airplane or 2 airplanes to bring back the Filipinos. So, parang kabaliwan, pero nangyayari talaga yan. Kung kaibigan natin ang Taiwan at nais nilang tumulong, abay tumulong sila. Or, kinakailangan ba dumaan sa Beijing? Kung One China at ang Beijing ang kinikilala natin, patulong kaya tayo sa Beijing, iuwi muna nila
Madam Chair,
bago magkagulo.
I defer to MECO Chair. Baka may
Hala, Beijing nang pinag-uusapan.
kung Beijing ho, I mean
Ba't kung hindi magpatulong? Kung kinikilala natin, may diplomatic ties, may one China policy, lahat binibigay natin. Tumulong naman silang ilabas yung mga Pilipino.
to that
Pwede ba yun?
question we can do that. Bakit naman
Pwede yun, ba't
Opo,
hindi, di
pwede
ba?
ho, pwede ho. Because may mekanismo nga kami. And then this can be an issue for
At wala nang
discussion.
ibang nakakaalam kung kailan magkakagulo, kundi yung mga Amerikano at yung mga Chinese, di ba?
Correct.
So dapat sila yung tumulong.
Thank you for that because that can be one of
Medyo
our
kabaliwan, pero
agenda.
nangyari na kasi.
Yeah,
May experience
true.
kaming ganyan. At si Miss Maralit po, meron kayong maidadagdag tungkol sa Taiwan? Tutulong kaya sila na iuwi yung mga Pilipino? Kasi nagdududa ako na kukulangin tayo, mahihirapan tayo.
Ma'am, as per our may contingency plan po ang MECO. Currently
Ayun
ina-update
na nga, wala namang barko, wala namang pera.
wala nga lang nga po talagang budget na na-approve for that. Although may mechanism po na in place under the contingency plan to enable us to directly coordinate with the officials there para in case na magkaroon tayo ng need to evacuate.
Okay, ang problema ng Taiwan, hindi umiikot lamang sa mga OFW ng mga Pilipino doon. At pinoproblema ko pa rin itong One China policy and the statement, in fact, from the executive, that the Philippines will inevitably get involved. Now, in what way will the Philippines get involved? Let's clarify, kasi will the Philippines be a party to that conflict? And it's undeniable that we are very, very close. I say that as an Ilocano, where Kaohsiung is 400 kilometers away from us, whereas Manila is 500 plus kilometers. We receive notice from them even before we get any help from Metro Manila. We share the same typhoons. We share the same section of two oceans. So, ang sasabihin ko, it's undeniable because of this geographical, physical location that we will somehow be dragged into the conflict. But the question arises that we have an MDT, Mutual Defense Treaty, with the United States. So it covers all armed attacks, as I understand it, on armed forces, public vessels, aircraft, territories, islands, and so on. And are we therefore saying, because of the MDT, if there is an armed conflict between China and the US over Taiwan, a vessel or an aircraft of the US is attacked while in the Pacific, hindi yun nagpapatrol, yun nangyari nung August, kundi talagang it is attacked in the Pacific, will this inevitably trigger the MDT, Article 5? Kasi napakaliwanag niyan. I'd like to inquire from any legal, the secretary from DFA. Is there a categorical answer?
Madam Chair,
Yes po.
your question is maybe rhetorical, it may be a possibility, but it is not automatic. My knowledge of FDT.
Yes,
There is
please.
a process that
Yes.
will be employed.
What's the process that you are referring to po?
One is a discussion between the two governments, the Philippines, of course, and the United States, and that will be on operational and ministerial levels. And of course, there is also the Congress, the congressional approval. So it is not as if we can just invoke. But I stand. This is the little knowledge that I have. Perhaps our experts. It must be the armed forces or the DND
Yes, that's
will be in
right.
a better
Unfortunately,
position.
they didn't turn up, as the secretary is well aware. But it's quite alarming. We have several articles in the MDT that continue to bother all of us. As you know, there is no exception indicated here. The MDT will apply if either party, the Philippines or the US, gets involved, for example, in the internal matter of another country like China. And in the meantime, gets its ship, aircraft, or armed forces attacked. With the way the MDT is stated, there's no exception at all. As long as one of the parties, Philippines or US, is attacked in the Pacific, the MDT is automatically triggered. Ang liwanag eh. Kasi narito talaga, as long as the territorial integrity, political independence, or security is threatened by an external armed attack in the Pacific. Paulit-ulit to eh, di ba? An armed attack on the metropolitan territory, on island territories, armed forces, public vessels, aircraft. Damay na yung Pilipinas niyan. We are required to come to the assistance of the United States. Is that correct?
Madam Chair, I know that this issue of the invocation of the MDT is a subject of discussions of the two SNDs. I mean, the two secretaries of
Yes, it's a
National
very,
Defense.
very old treaty from the
Yes.
1950s, so
Uh-huh.
inevitably
And
it has to
I
change.
would really leave it to the better, the discussions and the process itself with the Department of National Defense, because they've
Yes,
been
but we
discussing this
haven't
issue.
made much progress. We have been urging the American Embassy as well as the DFA to come out with annexes or perhaps a detailed explanation, some protocols, because this is so alarming.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is clearly Cold War language and cannot be read except in the context of the Cold War. Nevertheless, with what's happening and the escalating tensions in the Taiwan Straits, we can hardly be blamed for being alarmed.
Mhm.
So ano kayang magagawa? Kasi with the Philippines, on its face, on the reading of the MDT, di ba, the language of the treaty, will the Philippines be in breach of its treaty obligations under the MDT if we refuse to lend aid to the US in case of conflict in Taiwan? Can we justify non-compliance to the MDT in the context of a conflict over Taiwan on the ground that it would violate what we recognize as our One China policy? Kung One China policy, dapat hindi ka makikigulo sa domestic affairs, di ba? Maliwanag yun. Pero dito sa MDT, kung tamaan yung kasangga mo, kailangan tulungan mo. Paano yun? Maiipit tayo sa gitna niyan. What are we going to do? I'm not clear.
Madam Chair,
On one hand, you have the MDT. On the other hand, you have the One China policy. Are we to understand that they're in direct opposition of each other? And how do we act?
Madam Chair, I'll be very frank and candid. I think this is an operational issue in nature, and I cannot really respond to exactly to your question because I know that
Because no one knows the answer.
because there were also
Patay.
discussions
No,
between the two secretaries.
I think, Madam Chair, it's high time that we have to review, this committee will have to review the Mutual Defense Treaty because sabi mo nga, it's been ages, panahon pa ng Cold War yung MDT na yan, na panahon pa yata ng tatay mo, correct me if I'm wrong.
Before pa, 1951?
It's not, nung panahon na yun, hindi pa ganun masyado ka-tense yung situation ng between China and Taiwan. So we really have to review, Madam Chair. May I manifest that we have to probably in another meeting, we will review this mutual defense treaty and invite the Defense Department and even the United States Embassy or their representative to look into this para ika nga sumunod at tumugon sa mga panahon ngayon. Yung treaty niyan, Madam Chair.
Yes, yun nga sinabi ni Secretary Lazaro, tama yun. Kasi maiipit tayo, di natin maalam kung ano gagawin. Okay, sinabi ni Secretary Lazaro, operational. O eto na, operational. Are we compelled under the MDT and the EDCA to allow the US to use the EDCA sites as forward operating bases or staging launching points for military intervention in Taiwan? Kasi there are allies under the MDT. Andyan na yung EDCA. Tumutulong sila sa atin. We have clearly a very clear defense treaty, di ba? An agreement of the EDCA. At nandyan na yung mga EDCA sites. Alam niyo, nagtatanong ako nito, hindi para pahirapan yung buhay natin, kundi naaalala ko po yung ama ko. Noong kasagsagan ng Vietnam War, malaking gulo yan sa Pilipinas dahil may Clark at Subic at gusto nilang gawin launching pad yung Pilipinas para bombahin yung Vietnam. Ayaw pumayag ng ama ko. Medyo roundabout ang nangyari. Refueling and refitting lamang ang hinayaan sa Clark at Subic. Pero no direct flights daw. Ito yung kasunduan. Ngayon, ganyan rin ang mangyayari ngayon. Dahil meron na tayong EDCA sites, hindi nga tinatawag na military bases, halos ganun na rin. So, anong mangyayari kapag ganyan?
Madam Chair, again,
I know that we really, really need someone from the Defense Department at this juncture. But since they failed to appear, I urge you to answer as best we can.
thank you, Madam Chair, to the best that I can. And I can say that EDCA was never contemplated as a forward operating base. It is actually an HADR.
Can you decode your alphabet, Sue?
Humanitarian assistance.
Humanitarian assistance and disaster relief or resilience site. It's always been HADR. In fact, the last discussion I had.
Ganon din ang nangyari nung Vietnam days eh.
Okay.
Ang nangyari doon, kung maalala ninyo, si General Tobias led the PhilCAG.
Uh-huh.
Yung PhilCAG, kasi sabi, may commitment daw ang Pilipinas magpadala ng sundalo. Sabi ng ama ko, oo, papadala kami ng sundalo, kaya lang engineer, gagawin kami ng tulay, magpapadala kami ng medics,
Yeah.
sundalo din yun. Pero hindi lalaban, di hahawak, hindi magdadala ng baril. So, ang intindi natin, ang EDCA can only be used in the event of disaster relief, human assistance, ano pa yung isa? Sorry.
Disaster relief.
Yeah, humanitarian
Humanitarian
assistance.
assistance.
Ano sabi ninyo?
HADR, humanitarian assistance and disaster relief.
Disaster relief.
Yes.
So, kapag walang disaster, like halimbawa ngayon, di ba, may Typhoon Kajiki ang Vietnam,
Mhm.
pwedeng gamitin yung EDCA. Nagtatanong ako, wala naman daw pinadala mula sa EDCA para tulungan ng Vietnam. May 20 ng patay. Hindi, tanong lang.
Well, another point to again,
Ilan rin yung patay nung nakaraang mga bagyo?
marami na po. Pero
Emong ilan. Wala naman tumulong galing EDCA.
kasi I think ang operational word na naman ho dito is that it should be the decision to use whatever aspects of EDCA should be mutually agreed also by the two governments.
So, so far, no humanitarian assistance and disaster relief has been undertaken by any of the EDCA sites. I imagine, kasi wala namang balita eh.
Actually, Madam Chair, I can only recall my discussion with Secretary Rex Gatchalian of DSWD. He said that he will, I don't know kung anong typhoon po iyon, pero sinasabi niya na I will pack up those sites para pagdating sa, I think he was thinking about north, way up in the north. I think
Wala
Cagayan.
pa eh, wala pa.
Hindi, matagal na pong typhoon to.
Yung
I think
pinesto lang nila doon, yung typhoon missiles. Wala namang humanitarian, walang gamot, walang pagkain.
Madam Chair.
Yes,
I think
Senator Tulfo.
the Department of Foreign Affairs is not capable of answering all these questions
That's
because
right. No,
these are the questions for the Department of Defense.
I
I
agree, but
May I manifest or may I suggest, Madam Chair, that we invite in the next meeting the Department of Defense officials and the armed forces because I believe they're the proper authorities to answer our questions here. Otherwise, if they don't want, then we can send a subpoena to these officials. I'm sorry, Madam Chair, but I think, I mean, you said they were invited, they didn't come. I don't know, but they must have very good reasons. Otherwise, kung hindi pa rin po sila darating, then we have to, I believe, subpoena them, Madam Chair, because it's Then we deserve to know how can we proceed. The secretary is having a hard time trying to answer these questions when it is not in her territory. It's only the Defense Department and the Armed Forces of the Philippines can answer all these questions, Madam Chair, na ito bang EDCA buhay na? May mga tao na ba dyan? Bakit hindi pa nakatulong sa relief, humanitarian efforts? So I guess, Madam Chair, may I suggest that we subpoena the officials of the Department of Defense and the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. I highly agree with this more aggressive stance. They cannot keep snubbing the Senate hearings. It's unacceptable. So I will act on that immediately. Senator Padilla, please.
Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair. Meron lang po akong itatanong uli. Opo, madalas na po ang exercises ng China sa paligid ng Taiwan. At ganoon din po ang Taiwan, sila din po ay may mga military exercises na rin ng defense. Meron na po ba tayong pag-uusap sa China na halimbawa magkaroon sila ng singalot? Meron po bang usapan na kayo kung paano natin ilalabas yung ating mga Pilipino po sa Taiwan? Meron na po bang diplomatic kayong pag-usapan kasi wala pong umaamin naman. Ang China hindi umaamin na sila ay aatake. Ganun din naman po ang Taiwan, sila ay panay-panay ng exercises. Katunayan, parang kailan lang meron silang exercises. Nakasama pa yung mga bata. So, meron na po ba tayong plano na kausapin ng China, halimbawa?
Your Honor, Senator Padilla, actually, yan po yung suggestion ni Madam Chair na kailangan na namin kausapin. Mga usapan ho kasi namin with China are the South China Sea issues, consular consultations. Pero now, I think it's about time to also come up with these discussions. Aminin ko po, kailangan nung namin siguro umpisahan.
Opo, kasi siguro 2022 po yun, 2023 nang nagkaroon po kami ng diskusyon ng ating kalihim din ng Secretary of National Defense po. Dito din po 'yon sa Senado na sinasabi ko po na madadamay tayo diyan sa Taiwan. At sila naman po ay nagsasabi na hindi. Pero ito na po. Nagsabi na po ang ating Pangulo na madadamay tayo. Opo. Siguro po kailangan na po natin magkaroon din ng exercises kung paano natin ilalabas yung ating mga Pilipino doon sa Taiwan kasi madami po yun, mahal na kalihim.
Madam Chair, gusto ko rin po sagutin na sa totoo lang, sabi ko nga sa inyo, marami kami mekanismo. One of them is the Foreign Ministry Consultations. So pwede namin gamitin to because again, kung sa tamang panahon tayo mag-usap on the contingency plan, sa totoo lang, meron ng repatriation na mangyayari, hindi lang sa Taiwan, pati doon sa certain part. Mga Pilipino din natin na nandun sa China. So, these are all in our discussions. Okay. Alam po yan ng DMW at saka ng MECO.
Opo, makakausap po ba natin ng mga Taiwanese na mag-commit din na sila'y tumulong po sa
MECO po makakasagot.
Opo, pwede po ba yon na makapag-commit sila sa atin na tutulong po sila na
as yung katulad po na sinabi ko kanina, under the contingency plan that we have, nakakuha na po kami ng commitment from the Taiwanese officials na kausap po natin doon, natutulungan tayo in case magkaroon po talaga ng kaguluhan doon. In fact, doon po sa
anong klaseng tulong?
Opo, di ba po dapat may exercise?
Na sila, uunahin nila yung sarili nila, no?
Under their contingency plan din po kasi meron po silang mga shelters sa Taiwan. So 80,000 po ang alam ko na shelters nila doon. 89,000.
Opo. Bali, hindi po natin ilalabas yung ating mga kababayan.
Well, po ang first kasi na response. Just in case magkaroon po na invasion, syempre hindi naman po natin agad-agad mailalabas silang lahat. So they will have to take shelter at meron po nang na-pinpoint. Marami all over Taiwan po. Mayroon po silang 89,000 na shelters that can accommodate 40 million people. Ano naman po, 23 million lang naman po ang Taiwanese, and then the rest po ay mga foreign workers na. So, enough po yung shelters na yon para ma-accommodate po lahat ng nasa Taiwan.
Matanong ko lang, Madam Chair.
Yes,
Makasingit lang. Madam Chair, may I just ask Attorney Garafil. Ma'am, meron po ba tayong communication in cases situation like this arises, mga emergency, na pwede bang tawagan isa-isa ang mga OFWs natin doon, or they can contact the nearest embassy, or not embassy, I'm sorry, the MECO or the OWA, the DMW, or to cascade information na may emergency, may ganito, we have to move here para mag-ipon-ipon sila at para isahan lang at alam ng gobyerno kung saan sila pupuntahan, how they will be evacuated. Do we have that kind of a plan?
Yung DMW po, bago umalis ang mga OFWs natin papuntang Taiwan, kasama po yan sa kanilang training or kanilang orientation. Like in case kung mayroong emergency, alam po nila kung saan sila pupunta, sinong kukontakin po nila. So, before their departure sa Pilipinas and upon their arrival sa Taiwan, nagkakaroon po sila ng regular orientation on those things.
Yeah, but the question here is, Madam Chair, yung line of communication, hindi lang, syempre pag invasion po, ang mangyayari po dyan, shutdown na po yung communications, mga TV stations, radio stations po. So paano makakascade ang information sa OFW natin? Paano kung nandoon po siya sa medyo remote part of Taiwan na pumunta siya sa ganitong lugar, kung wala na pong means of communication dahil na bomba na marahil yung mga cell sites, so there's no more way of communicating them. How will they know that they need to be evacuated ASAP, and where will they go? Yan po ang problem natin sa past experiences sa Israel, sa Gaza. Yan ang experience natin sa Iraq, sa Kuwait. Those are our past experience. Nagpapanik because walang communication na, dahil unang-una, unang bubombahin ay yung mga communications para ng tower, para hindi na makapag-communicate ang gobyerno kung sino man yan dyan, yung kanilang mga tauhan para makagawa po silang depensa. Yan po ang unang tatargetin ng isang lumulusob na sundalo o militar. Madam Chair.
Yes, tama po yun. So, did the Secretary Lazaro want to add anything, please? Kasi I saw you raising your hand.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Kasasabi lang po kasi ni Sec. Cheloy about the workers. Pero importante rin po yun that the employers, alam po ng DMW, they have a responsibility to their workers, including repatriation and taking care of them if such a situation arises.
Yes, I wanted to clarify lamang na lahat iniisip natin para sa ating mga OFW, although the problem is much larger than just the OFWs, kasi aabot sa Pilipinas apakalapit. So hindi kumbaga safe ang teritoryo ng Pilipinas, maliban pa sa OFW. At kahit wala rito yung defense, gusto ko lang liwanagin kasi at the end of the day, these are two treaties, yung EDCA natin at saka itong MDT at yung One China Joint Communique. Lahat yan, DFA pa rin. Kaya nais ko sana humingi sa inyo ng anumang paliwanag. If you could give us some kind of written explanation and perhaps attempt to answer in some way or other, at least legally and theoretically, how exactly we are supposed to operate in the event of a Taiwan attack, given that we are caught in between with the MDT and One China policy, and really have no reference for this situation. Wala namang iba sa ASEAN na may MDT. Nag-iisa tayo. Speaking of nag-iisa, yung isa pang problema natin, ang ASEAN, halos hindi kakampi natin. Kung tutuusin, ang Myanmar in full support ng China claim of sovereignty over Taiwan. Tutulong pa raw sila ayon sa kanilang shadow government. Cambodia, talagang active na linalabanan ng Taiwanese independence.
pakialam na, pero wala silang pake. Talagang sinasabi nila ng tahasan. Ang Vietnam, talagang sinasabi, Taiwan, inalienable part of Chinese territory. Kahit may laban din sila, may claim din sila sa West Philippine Sea, sa South China Sea. Nag-uupakan rin sila dyan, pero napakatindi ng kanilang salita. Malaysia, ganun din. At Indonesia, dahil ang kanilang ekonomiya very dependent on China. Closest, biggest trading partner. At Thailand, mas matindi yung Thailand. Umabot na sila ng comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership. May Thailand-China community with a shared future. Pati Singapore, sabi hindi daw sila mananatiling neutral. At bakit daw nagbo-volunteer ang Pilipinas na maging battleground nitong bakbakan ng malalaking nag-uumpugan na kapangyarihan. So eto nga, ang problema, makakatulong ba ang kapitbahay natin? Kung hindi natin kaya, mananawagan tayo sa China, mananawagan tayo sa Taiwan. Tutulungan ba tayo ng ASEAN? Sila pinakamalapit eh. Mukha talagang nung huli nilang meeting, panay panay pitik sa Pilipinas na kayo lang ang sobrang pro-American at dinamay pa ninyo kaming lahat at narito yung militar. So, ramdam ko na pinipitik tayo nitong mga kapitbahay natin. Kung walang tutulong sa atin, paano kaya ito? Wala tayong matatakbuhan.
Madam Chair, sa mga dami po ng mga ASEAN meetings na ina-attend namin sa Department of Foreign Affairs, wala naman hong ganyan ka sweeping statement. But I have to let's go back to Taiwan.
I'm not making sweeping statements.
No,
These are direct quotes from
Yes.
their foreign and executive departments.
Yes, Madam Chair, but in the ASEAN discussions, pag nakikita-kita kaming sambu,
Kasi naman, the ASEAN way.
the ASEAN way.
Oh, ayan naman, naniwala ka naman doon. May gera na nga sa Taiwan, Kampuchea border.
But I have
Pero ASEAN way pa rin.
ASEAN way pa rin. Because that's... Anyway, but Madam Chair, I just have to tell you this, and these are facts. Alam ng DMW yan, na mas marami pang Vietnamese and Indonesians in Taiwan rather
Kaya
than
nga,
the
isa pang aspect yun, magkaisa tayo sa Vietnam, Vietnam at Pilipino, para magkaisa tayo kung paano ilalabas yan. Kasi mas marami nga yung tauhan nila ron eh. Kaso, medyo allergic sila sa atin. Naku, nakakausap ko rin sila eh.
Nag-uusap din naman kami in
Hindi,
many
takot na
aspects.
takot sila dahil nandito yung mga Amerikano na nervous sila na lalong na-agitate yung China. Nambubuli na nga, gagalitin mo pa ng todo-todo. Takot din sila eh. Parati lang pinag-uusapan yan eh.
I also wanted to add, Madam Chair, na ano naman kami, nagpro-progress kami sa mga discussions namin on the Code of Conduct on the South China Sea.
Understood, but by way of IMES solution, para solusyonan natin to, pwede ba kausapin din natin itong may mga tauhan sa Taiwan? At magkaisa tayo, kung may plano tayo na buko-bukong plano, magpatulong tayo sa lahat, di ba? So we should be very specific. At this juncture, I would like to call an executive session to allow Secretary Lazaro to explain in greater detail with the DMW, the MECO, and the rest, particularly but not solely with regard to the visit now hanging over our heads. So I urge everyone to please leave the room and we shall limit to only
Madam
those
Chair,
here.
before we totally forget, may I manifest that we subpoena the Department of Defense to attend the next hearing so that they can answer questions that hindi po kayang sagutin ng Department of Foreign Affairs, Madam Chair.
Tama. So, okay, the motion stands and it's unopposed, and I will therefore forward it to the Senate President immediately.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Recording stopped.